awe-inspiring gladiators. And welcome to the very first ever talk show in the Sledgehammer's Edge Impact series. I promised you guys that apart from the regular things I'm putting up, like my short little sessions for you, whatever I could actually put up to empower you guys one after the other. This was a promise I'd made that I would bring to you face to face with a host of successful entrepreneurs talking about their challenges, their solutions to their challenges, their opportunities, and a lot of things that could possibly inspire you in a manner never done ever before. Let me talk about our very first guest, Sangeeta Shankaran Suresh. Now, if I tell you all about her, I'll probably need this entire half an hour just talking about her. So I'm going to make it as short as possible. She's a founder and CEO of Gaintastic. She's a chartered accountant, completed her executive education from Harvard Business School. And she's won quite a few awards. For example, leading woman CFO in India, Nightingale Award, Society of Auditors, Innovator in Finance by the International Women's Leader Forum, 100 Inspiring Authors of India, an Outstanding Professional Award by FICCI. I met up with Sangeeta a few years back when actually I was perchance in Chennai preparing for the first ever summit I was holding in Chennai for women entrepreneurs. I was invited to her book launch, this amazing book, A Glance at the Unknown. I attended her book launch. I picked up this book, went back to my hotel room, had my dinner, started the first chapter. I didn't sleep till I ended the entire book. It is such an amazing, hypnotic book to read. The next morning, I decided that I'm going to have Sangeeta as one of our panel speakers on the Agni Women's Entrepreneur Forum. And she obliged. So it is very apt, and it's an awesome moment for me to now actually have her as my first ever guest in this entire series of the Sledgehammer Edge Impact talk show on becoming entrepreneurs. Hi, Sangeeta, and welcome so much, and thank you so much for being part of the show.
Thank you very much, Chani. It's such a pleasure to be on your show, and it makes me feel special to be the first guest of the show. So thank you for having me over.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Sangeeta, tell us all about your journey into the realm of entrepreneurship from a very, very comfort zone as a CFO yourself.
Yes. So, I think for the last 5 odd years, I had been kind of mulling over because though everything was fine, like you exactly said, I was well within my comfort zone, but I just felt I needed to do something beyond, right? I was like, if I'm able to make a difference and contribute to the growth of one organization, I said, why can't I do it for more? Why do I have to restrict myself to just one organization? So this was a thought that was in me for quite some time. And then I was a little unsure. I said, I didn't know where to get started, how to go about. So it was just kind of there in my head. And, like they say, the teacher appears when the student is ready. So I think after about a few months, I happened to chance about coaching. Now, I didn't know who's a coach and what exactly a coach does. But then, at one point in time, like all I heard was about coaching. So that kind of intrigued me. And so I went around finding out what coaching was. And then I started my coaching journey more out of curiosity. And one thing led to the other. And then I just loved the entire process. And I realized that it aligned very well with what I felt was my purpose. So I was like, okay, it's maybe time for me to get started. But then, like you exactly said, I was well huddled up and, cozy inside my comfort zone. And I wasn't really mentally prepared to step out of it. But then I said, unless I step out, it's never going to happen. Otherwise I was just kind of procrastinating it. So finally I took the plunge last year, and here I am. So on my own, I work as a business coach. I work with corporate leaders and entrepreneurs in helping them in their business.
Sangeeta, you said that you took that plunge finally. Now, there are many, many professionals who are trying to take that plunge into entrepreneurship,
Yes.
but really don't know whether they should or not, purely because of the fears of the unknown. Obviously, you conquered them when you took that plunge.
Right.
I'd really like to know what went through your mind when you were taking that plunge.
Right. So in my case, one of the reasons I realized that I was procrastinating was, like you said, was the fear of the unknown. And also I think I had a bit of a fear whether people would accept me as a coach. And, all these negative thoughts that come up in your mind, including fear and other things. So what I did, so though I started my coaching journey about 4 or 5 years ago, parallelly for the last 3 years I was doing my full-time job, as well as I was as a part-time coach, like over weekends or after hours or whatever. I used to kind of manage to do both parallelly. So that actually gave me the confidence, right? And people also started accepting me, and I was like, yes, and when I'm able to produce and deliver results, that boosted my self-confidence. And that's when I said, okay, it's time now that I go ahead and take the plunge. So, and also, once I have crossed over to this side, that's when I realized people now can relate and understand, yes, you are serious about this, right? Otherwise, people also think, okay, maybe you're doing it, as a hobby or just out of passion. But for people to understand the seriousness of what you're actually doing, unless you take the plunge, it doesn't happen. So these were some of my learnings that I realized. And unless you take the plunge, it doesn't happen. But a word of caution, don't just take the plunge for the sake of taking the plunge, because that could be hard hitting as well. So ensure you're well cushioned, both professionally and personally and financially as well. And I think that's when you can easily take the jump.
I think that's a very, very important advice, because a lot of people tend to jump into entrepreneurship through a sense of passion, but not realizing that you still have bills to pay and you still have a mouth to feed. So one has to, like you said very correctly, and only a finance person would be able to advise as accurately as this, that you need to have your financial backup in place for a while, because it takes quite some time to actually get to see the money rolling into your bank account.
True.
So it sure does. But tell me something more. Your fascination about writing, and what made you start? Because this book that I read, it took my night away, but I've got up so energized after having read this amazing book. I haven't read the others of yours yet, but what made you move into almost now 4 books, I believe, a full-time writer, apart from just a coach? How does that not only exhilarate you, but be a part of your growth chapter as an entrepreneur?
Yes. So to be very honest, Anand, I never had plans to write. I was like, that's definitely not my cup of tea. I've been a speaker, for a very long time, but I was like, writing, no. But you won't believe, I think in 2015, I was on a family vacation to Cambodia. And we had visited the killing fields there. And, if you know the Cambodian history from 1970 to 74, there was a mass genocide by Pol Pot, and, horrible stories. So even now,
Yes.
when you go to the killing fields in Phnom Penh, you can find pieces of bones and nails. And, there's a huge tower that's erected with skulls, describing how people were killed and so on. Totally gruesome and very barbaric. Now, that actually kind of left a lasting impression on me, and, just kind of made me think. I said, what happens if man gets so cruel, right? I mean, that to innocent people. It's not like they had enmity. They would just mercilessly butcher everybody. So it just got me thinking, and unknowingly, I had weaved the story in my head. Now, again, there was a little voice that said, why don't you write about it? And I was like, no, I'm not a writer. I'm not going to write. And I didn't want to step out of my comfort zone as well. But this story kept lingering in me, and I think after about 9-10 months after I came back from Cambodia, I chanced upon a 100-day book authoring challenge. Now, challenges are something that excites me, and as soon as I saw it, I said, yes, this is probably going to lead me to complete the book. So, and then I took up the challenge and completed Tai Chennai launched the book for us. And it was exciting. I had a lot of butterflies in my stomach because, like, it's a spiritual thriller, and I wasn't sure how people would react to it, and I had all these phobias. My mind voice telling you, "Are you doing the right thing?" and everything. But I said no. Let me just do it. It's all right if people don't like it. That was a mindset I went with. So, and luckily, like I've been getting a lot of appreciation, and it was that book that won me the 100 Inspiring Authors of India award. Now,
Yes.
when I started telling people that I have written a book, everybody assumed it to be a finance book. So when I said, no, it's a spiritual thriller that I've written, they were like, where is the finance book? So I didn't have a choice but to come up with a finance book. And this was the one. It's called What's the Finance? Right? And this book went on to do pretty well, and it became a national bestseller. So you see, I was like, had no plans, and then went on to this, and then one thing led to the other. And then thereafter, I came up with my other book. It's called Get High, How to Coach
Yes.
Yourself for, yes, high performance in your work.
Yes.
So that, and then the other one is a free audio book on Kindle. It's called The Power of High Performance Coaching.
Yes,
And
I've heard about that.
yes, and my fifth book is on its way. So maybe in the next few months, I hope that comes out.
Oh, that's awesome. But I know, you see, once you write your first book, it's like a bug that doesn't leave you. I mean, it keeps on, you need to keep on. And I think serious entrepreneurs who are actually giving back to the world what they've gathered over the years themselves, uh, I find that when they write a book, it's taken up very seriously. For example, my book, The Sledgehammer's Edge, when I wrote it, I didn't think about writing a book. I just said, I want to put my thoughts into it. And it sold over 5,000 copies, and I was quite surprised because it was my first book. And now it's, I've written 2 books after that. And it's amazing how much people who are connected with you and who believe in your philosophies of life and your principles of coaching connect easily with your book, because much of what you think within gets portrayed in that book. And I understand that. But one more important question I actually want to ask you, Sakita, was being an entrepreneur in this country. Well, all right, there are a lot of people who get into entrepreneurship. Being a woman entrepreneur, would that have its own significant, different challenges, or would they be facing the same kind of challenges that most other men entrepreneurs have?
Right. So that's a great question, and I always have the standard answer. I never let, not only as an entrepreneur, even as a working professional in the corporate with over 25 years, I have never let gender interfere in whatever I do.
Excellent.
Yes. So if it is a challenge, I mean, it's a challenge for everybody. It's not just because I'm a woman. So, I never let gender interfere. I think thanks to my parents, my upbringing was that, gender was never an issue that was spoken about. It's like whether you are capable of achieving something, or, how is it that you are going to overcome something as an individual. So gender has never been on my head. So I guess it's normal challenges which any entrepreneur would face.
Awesome. I just hope that all future women entrepreneurs watching this actually hear this out, because one of the major fear areas that I keep trying to counsel with a lot of women entrepreneurs is this very thing, trying to get that gender out of their head, because that's not, it's all what's inside your head that actually creates your entire progress or your entire standards of success. And I agree with you on that. We have, like I said, this is an era. I believe this is the era for entrepreneurs, especially with the sort of pandemic that we are facing in our country here, which is supposed to be now the worst across the world. It is a world for entrepreneurs. In this present situation, Sangeeta, what are the challenges that you're facing?
Right. So yes, challenges are definitely there, but I think I try to focus more on the opportunities, because if you're focusing only on the challenges, it kind of tends to pull you down. Whereas if you
Yes.
start looking at opportunities, you feel better, you feel good about your own self, and you're able to do more. Like,
Yes.
for example, now, like, since everything is happening virtually, now I have clients in Dubai, Hyderabad, Ahmedabad, and other places. So you see, the geographical location is no longer a barrier. So I'm able to reach out to more people at a larger space. So I try to look at things on a positive manner, right? So that it just kind of elevates me. I'm like, yes, I'm able to contribute towards the success of these people and their businesses. So that makes me feel really good, because if you're just going to be stuck only about the challenges, it's just going to pull you down. So I try to stay away from that, and I look at the brighter things that life has to offer.
Well, that's very apt. That's very apt. Very apt. You are basically a coach in your niche of finance. So, what are the sort of clients that reach out to you? What are sort of pain or challenge that they face for a reason why they are now connecting with you?
Right. So I have clients, like I said, both from the corporate world as well as entrepreneurs. And while finance is the base, I also focus on leadership as well as high performance.
Oh,
Now,
all right.
like I say, yes, if you notice, the three are connected, because a leader drives high performance for financial success. So, the three are interlinked. So with the corporate leaders, I do work on different aspects that challenges that they face as a corporate leader. It could be team management, time management, whatever challenges that they want to overcome. And of course, I bring in the finance element as well, like how they can be financially prudent, how they need to be taking calculated risks, and so on. And of course, high performance is something that everybody wants to.
Yes.
There's nobody who says, I don't want high performance, right? So I do that even as group sessions. Both, even finance, I conduct finance workshops. I also conduct, high performance sessions for groups. So I do team coaching, individual coaching. So I basically cater and customize my programs depending on what the individual wants. And of course, if it's an entrepreneur, then I'm looking at it more from a financial perspective, how they can enhance their financial performance. So it's a mixed bag, but the niche areas, like I said, are leadership, finance, and high performance.
Okay. Okay. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. Finally, Sangeeta, what would be your advice to young budding entrepreneurs who would love to slide into your shoes at any given point of time?
Right. So I always say each person is unique, right? If YOU were an acronym, I say you are outstanding and unique.
Wow,
So
you are outstanding and unique. That's awesome. YOU. That's awesome.
yeah. So there's no need to really look at somebody else. So leverage on whatever are your strengths, whatever comes to you. Because, if you notice, a lot of people have things that they really like and things that you don't really like. So throw away the ones that you don't like, but whatever you like, leverage on that, leverage on your strengths, see how is it that you can make a difference, feel good about yourself. And I think that would definitely bring about a positive change, not only in you, but to others around you, and definitely to your clients and customers. So I think that sort of mindset shift is what is required to go ahead. So just go ahead and do what you love. So then automatically success is yours.
Oh, that was great. That is great. So that, ladies and gentlemen, you all inspiring gladiators, was Sangeeta Shankaran with her highly inspirational career jump into the world of entrepreneurship. Thank you so much for being here, and hang around. Very soon, another amazing gladiator is going to be on board. Thank you so much, Sangeeta. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Anand. See you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.